Hi, I'm Alex Wood, and I'm part of Phantom Media's election coverage of the University of Derby Student Union elections. I'm here today with.
Hi, Josh Williams, just doing his Alex. Can't wait to get started.
Beautiful. What drew you to this particular role, Josh?
Genuinely, being part of a great officers team, I think going in the elections, it's great to be running again for it. So I think genuinely it's a changing role. I think just how dynamic it is and great experience I've had. So yeah, I think that's what really drew to it.
And then, if you were obviously to succeed and be, as you said there, re-elected as VP activities, what's your primary aim?
So I think there's been a part of VP activities. I think being rerunning, going for a second year, the sort of it has to change. I think this year was very different, but I think going into next year, so my main mandates are accessibility, increase accessibility across all activities, so from student-led services themselves, sports, and societies. Along with that, increase sort of volunteering opportunities. I think volunteering is a great platform we have at this university, and also look at again, sort of like streamlining the paperwork process. That I think, as yourself know, risk assessment things like that. It's quite arduous to see if we can streamline that process. Yeah, I think they're the key sort of change I want to make. That sort of dynamic sort of approach.
Brilliant. This is gonna be a little bit of a weird one to ask you because you're in it, so it's a little bit different, and it's probably gonna make me giggle and maybe make you laugh as well. What is your particular perception of the student union now?
Oh, great question. I think as an organisation, I think we have a really strong union. At the heart of it, we respond to students. We are here to support students, whether activities, welfare, the president role, or education. At the heart of what we do, it's always about the students, which I think we can see at the core value. I don't think that's changed, and I think if anything, we're better at responding to students. We sort of support students. I think that's the core of it. I think that's the main key theme from that. I think that's evident in all the work we have done this year, and hopefully whoever gets this job into the next year will be at the heart of what they do going into next year.
Is there anything that you would change?
Oh, again, great question. I think not so much anything I'd change. I'm happy with the work I've done this year. There's some things that I want to do just because of the situation of what COVID's been this year. I really want to get involved with. So that sort of Books Wednesday, for example. We haven't had one this year, and I think that frustration there for missing sports. Like the clubs miss sports, I miss sports. So I think it's that things like that really want to get involved with at more face-to-face sort of interaction. With you guys, like freshers was a great example of that. That's only one this year, so I think if we can do more of that going into next year, support my societies more face-to-face. I think that's the only thing I'm missing. So not so much do anything different. I think more just do more of the same, but in person. I think that's the crux of it.
Right. They're the kind of introductory ones, so we kind of let people kind of know, hey, this is Josh Williams, this is how cool he is, and everything like that, right? So the next couple are a little bit like job interviewee, so they're a little
Okay.
bit mishmashy and stuff like that. So just bear with them, okay? So how do you solve problems in a professional setting?
Again, great question. I think having that experience of this year in a professional setting, that in this role there can be some sort of conflict and conflict resolution. Whether we're dealing with a university, we're trying to make sort of average change for our students. I think it's that sort of being calm and collected, but yet firm in what we want to do. So I think that's the main sort of cause that would be problems, is trying to push as much for students. So I think it's being firm in our response, but also being like observant into what's going around us, that sort of sense. So remaining firm, but then also being reasonable. I think that's the core of it. But again, I think that's the crux of it.
Yeah, and as you know, and as a lot of people know, when they look around the university, when they've actually been able to go or look online, when you are elected, if you are re-elected to VP activities, but when you are actually elected to VP activities, the person's face who is elected is everywhere. You're on a rolling billboard. You're on every social media post, and if you're really lucky, you're in a full-size Photoshop image of all of you together in front of the university.
Oh no, I can only apologise for everyone for seeing that, like all day long. No.
But obviously, the role comes with a lot of publicity, and a lot of every single student knowing exactly who you are. And how would you deal with that?
I think it's just the way how we compose ourselves. Like it's at the end of the day, we're representing students. So I think the way that we hold ourselves in, well, rightly or wrongly, is how students viewed as well. So I think I like that sort of being the face of students. I think being an approachable officer team. I think that exposure helps with that. But come chat to us. We are here to support. We are here to represent you guys, which I think is great. But also towards the university, we are the face that supports and makes change. So yeah, I think I quite like that being that point of representation for all students.
Brilliant. And then coming into the precipice of the actual meaty side of it right now. So currently, due to the coronavirus and COVID-19, it has impacted students. We'd be daft to say it hasn't impacted students this year but it's left a lot of students very concerned about not only their student experience being dampened, but also they've been critical of the university's response to the coronavirus and COVID-19. What do you think the Union of Students should do in response to this?
No, I think it's perfectly valid that we also share this frustration with students. It has been a tough year. So I think as a union of students, again, it's at the core of it. I think representation, that is the core of it. No matter what stream it's come from, whether it's through your education representation or even through activities, I think that's the core of it. So we stand firm as a union of students. We listen, engage, sort of feedback. I think our first day thoughts, for example, I think that's the crux of it. Whoever's, they get to see me every Thursday kind of thing, asking me questions about your learning. But that's vital to what we do. I think and we properly take on student feedback and we push for these things that we want to see changing. We see the education, the blended model, again, pushing for how students want to see that. So I think, again, it's a shared frustration. It has been a weird year. I think we all feel that with you. So I think, again, I think sort of taking away from this outside the elections, I think just really want to reaffirm that message that whoever is the elected, officer team, currently ours, use us as a vocal point, use us to sort of represent that, and we will push for you. I think that's the overarching message of this year. So yeah, definitely.
So how can the VP activities support that? Yeah. How can the VP activities support what you've just said there?
The meetings we sit in, I think this year more than most years, I've had the opportunity to sort of be in a lot of university higher meetings. Again, so I sort of gauge feedback. We have two great councils, the Sports Council and the Societies Council, and they are a very vocal set of students, and they engage with our wider sort of stream of activities. So I think that's so I get a lot of feedback there and push for that. I think an example of this, I think an ongoing piece of work this year I've done was renovation of both the top and bottom pitches on Kedleston Road on site. There was some pushback from the university there, but only because of what students wanted and that feedback I got from that, we are able to push that. So that's a piece of work that is ongoing. We'll have fit for purpose, top of the range, pitches renovated, ready for the next academic year. I think that's only due to the work that students and the feedback will put in. So it does work. Contact me at any time, emails, Facebook message, anything like that. And again, for any officer, this is, we'll push for what you want. So I think that's how we do it.
Brilliant. And then obviously this year we've learned a lot being in computers and kind of trapped in our little boxes of rooms and stuff. We have learned an awful lot being virtual this year. Is there anything personally and professionally you would take from this year into next one?
I mean, I've learned how to use Microsoft Teams properly. I think that's a crux. I think we all have, you know what I mean? I'm joking, but I think what I've learned professionally this year, I think it has been an interesting year. Like, it's been completely novel, and I think the experience I've learned from this year, the idea of working away from home, like working at home, I think that's and being reflective towards that. You know, the obvious IT skills, but I won't bore you with that, the practical skills. But I think just being able to engage with students and engage in that sort of manner remotely has been absolutely vital, because we had every opportunity this year that we could have been no feedback from students, nothing. We wouldn't be able to gauge sort of the student dynamic, which I don't think has been the case this year. I think as an officer team, we're able to engage with that and again really push for changes. So I think that's a key skill I think we've learned, and I think students can appreciate that as well. But yeah, I think just because of the novelty of what 2021 has been, so definitely I think, you know, silver lining to it all. But again, I think that just pushing for students, I think that's been a key core skill.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Josh.
No, thanks, Alex. Honestly, really appreciate this. Thank you very much.